What's up, my hopeful little honey crisps? This is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on The Daily Grind, we're gonna have a little bit of a chat about upcoming content that is keeping me hanging on. And no, I'm not talking about big launches like Empyrean, The New War, or Plains of Duviri. I'm actually gonna be talking about little bits that can be released before any of that even happens. Hopefully sooner than later. Now, as you guys may know, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster of emotions on the channel as of late, so I'm trying to inject a little bit of positivity before I bring in a little bit more of a reality. So let's go ahead and take a look at the things that I am currently very hopeful for. So starting things off, we have Melee 3.0, and my notes on it is, where is it? We have been waiting for another dose of the Melee rework for quite a while now. Now, the things that I've been looking forward to are the really new flashy effects that kind of come with all of the animations that they're going to be putting in. I'm really curious to see what exactly they do with the limit break meter that is supposed to be replacing channeling, so I can't wait to see how that all plays into the games, as well as the melee weapon rebalancing. Along with all of that, I'm really curious to see exactly how all of this is going to affect the melee mods that are currently in play, whether they're going to make them better, hopefully, or, you know, maybe they're not going to be as effective. You know, things like body count, blood rush, condition overload is probably going to be safe, but anything that kind of involves the melee combo counter, all of those things I'm very, very curious about, and I can't wait to see what exactly comes with it. Now, as many of you guys know, they did state that there are going to be kind of leading them out in a trickle, that we're going to be getting certain weapon types before others, just so that we can go ahead and provide them feedback with what feels good or what doesn't feel good. But at this moment in time, we still haven't seen anything about it, and I'm just kind of crossing my fingers that this is something that they are working on in the background, and that soon enough it will emerge and we'll be like, oh, this is fantastic, or oh, this is not very good, but here's how to improve it, and this time around they'll actually listen to our feedback. Fingers crossed. Moving along, the next thing is the Vauban rework. Now, I'm gonna admit it, I'm not necessarily super duper excited about the Vauban rework, but it's really nice to see an older frame that's kind of aged a bit poorly in the current meta of Warframe. Now, as many of you guys know, I always say that Vauban is the meta dictator. When Vauban is strong, that means we actually have challenge in the game. When Vauban is weak, that means that everything is basically slaughterable within, you know, seconds. And that's why, because Vauban is really focused on CC, and you really only need to CC things when there's an actual threat that you need to hold down. So I'm really curious to see kind of what direction they take him. Now, if you guys haven't seen the video that I did on it yesterday, I'll leave a link up in the top corner, and it covers all of the updates that I found on Twitter, including the revised version of the Vortex/Bastille hybrid, and also some really, really interesting things that are going on with Tesla. The only thing that I have not seen yet, oh, and also, of course, the frickin' orbital strike that we also saw. But I'm really curious to see what the synergies are going to be, because DE has done a really good job as of late with capitalizing on certain abilities working together. So I hope that that's something that we're actually going to be seeing with Vauban. So I'm really curious to see what exactly they release, because I want to toy around with different builds for him. It's been a long time since Old Man Vauban has seen much of play for me, so I want to see what they do with that, including if they're going to be doing anything with Mind Layer, or if they're going to keep Mind Layer the way that it is. I don't know. The other thing that I can't really say anything about, but it's kind of like something I know about behind the scenes, and like I said, I respect my NDA, but there is another frame that is being touched for a rework. How deep that rework is going to go, and how drastic it's going to be, I really have absolutely no clue, but I do know that it's currently in testing, and I think that some of you guys, especially due to the, what is it called, the comments that have been left in the previous video, I think some of you guys will be very excited to see exactly where that is, and I'm excited to see where it goes as well. The next thing that I'm really, really kind of like crossing my fingers for is Grendel. Now, the big thing for me is I think that they did a great job with Goss, so I'm hoping that that kind of goes in line with Grendel as well. I wasn't really excited about Goss's initial, like, how do I put this? The way that they presented all of his abilities. It looked really boring. It looked really bland to me. I was like, oh, so he like zooms around and you get a shield or whatever. But it was so much more. And the gameplay that was attached to him just felt really like fluid. Well, not fluid, but like jagged, but fluid at the same time. Like all of the abilities really jive well. And maybe it's because they took Goss from, Anthem. I'm just saying Interceptor life was my life. So they brought the Interceptor here into Warframe. By the way, there are some people who seem to be confused and like, they don't play anything alike. Have you played an Interceptor? Because I have. They literally took the core mechanics from an Interceptor. Don't at me with that kind of stupidity, because believe you me, it's basically the same thing. I'm just saying. But anyway, back on subject. Initially, when I was looking at Goss's abilities, I was not impressed at all. And with Grendel, I have a similar feeling. With that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like, he rolls around, he's a meatball. Memes, not really that interested. But when you think about it more, it kind of works very similarly to Hydroid's Puddle, and I really like the mechanics behind Hydroid's Puddle. I'm not even going to tell you about the Area 51 stuff that I was thinking about when it came to Hydroid, but let me tell you. And also, don't at me on this, or let me know if you want this video, because I was gonna release it, and then I was like, no, that's too stupid, that's too memey. But Hydroid is, by far, after all of the research that I've done on Area 51, is the best way to get into Area 51 and to get the information that you need. Not just storming Area 51 to fight it, but actually getting in there, seeing all the things that you need to see. I'm just putting that out there, just saying. Listen. Anyway, so that's really, really interesting how his stomach can basically act as like a pool for enemies. And it's almost in and of itself a different type of CC. So I'm really curious to see how that all plays out. I want to see what synergies they come up with for him. I'm really, really curious about that. There has been talk about the way that he layers toxin procs, and that might actually be a good amount of damage output that he's got on his side. So I'm very curious to see exactly how that all plays out. The last bit that I am very curious of, and this is something I'm holding out hope for. Now, one of the big things that I always talk about when it comes to Warframe is another layer of difficulty. And I think that the only game mode that truly provides it at this moment, well, at least one that I'm willing to play, is Kuva Disruption. I feel like the rewards that we have in there are actually kind of sort of feasible, but of course they don't match up to Kuva Survival. So I do know that DE usually kind of like takes a couple weeks to figure out, okay, what's the number distribution, how much is being earned, yada, yada, yada. And they kind of like crunch all of those numbers to see exactly where those all fit. Plus, I do know that the team was a little bit hung up, mainly because of the fact that there were going to be some people missing and going on vacation from TennoCon, all of that kind of stuff. So they have been working a little bit short-staffed as of late. So they released it to get it out so that we could play it and work out all of the bugs. And I think that they're going to go back and take a look at the rewards again. And hopefully we'll get something that isn't Echoes of Umbra added into that game mode. Because right now, if you take a look at the drop tables, it's just purely Kuva. It's Kuva, and those universal medallions, which aren't actually universal. I'm just saying. So those are the only things that are currently available, and when compared to Kuva Survival, in Kuva Survival, not only are you earning Kuva, but you're also earning things like relics at the same time, and it's at a very competitive rate in an easier game mode. So a part of me is hoping that they really take into consideration the additional challenge that you can get from Kuva Disruption as you start scaling up, and really start rewarding for that. Now, one of the issues that is currently in Kuva Disruption that I highly need to highlight, and I think is absolute bullshit, for lack of a better term, is that certain boosters do not work with some of the drops. Now, of course, when you kill a Kuva Guardian, you are going to get Kuva from, not Kuva Guardian, is it the Kuva, the Destroyer guys? The Demolitionists. When you kill them, you will get a drop that can be affected by boosters. However, the rewards themselves are not affected by boosters. Now, here's the issue. people who have boosters usually probably paid for those boosters. That's money, okay? And I'm here to say, listen, if you are neglecting your paying audience, DE, by not making those drops effective by boosters, and when I say drops, I mean like the rewards for Kuva, then you're neglecting your paying audience. Do you really want to piss off your paying audience? Because if you piss off your paying audience, they might just stop paying. Just putting it out there. I'm just doing some money talk for you real quick. So I would highly suggest that whatever iteration they come out with, they do make sure that it is affected by boosters of some sort, whether it's Kavats, whether it's the actual boosters that you can pick up in game, all of that kind of stuff. Just make sure that you're not pissing off the people that are paying. Which of course, you know, is a sign for the next video that I want to do. Regardless, those are the things that I am really, really excited for now. Because let's be real, Empyrean, we don't know how far off it's going to be. We haven't really gotten any word of the new war. It's kind of like they're juggling these two big launches. And Duviri, let's be real, they probably don't even quite know what Duviri is. It's probably a very abstract thing in their head right now. So for me, it's always best to kind of stay hopeful for the things that could be coming soon. So let me know off of this list, what are you guys the most excited about? Leave that in the comments below. Or if there's something else that you're excited about, toss that down there as well. But as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll chat with you guys next time. Bye-bye.